Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to be on the safe side, hello and welcome to Live Chat. This is Lynn from the LEN English Network, coming to you from a very cold and grey Germany. We had a lovely weekend. Went on a bike ride on Saturday and on Sunday. It was warm, it was sunny, and then suddenly overnight we had storms on Monday. Kept blowing the lid off our water butt, flying across the garden. And yeah, it turned really miserable. So I hope you're having better weather than we are. And I shouldn't have boasted about how lovely it was to people in England. That's what happens, you see. You go, oh, it's beautiful here. It's really sunny and warm. And the weather goes, ha-ha, we'll see about that. So I hope you're all well, and let's crack on with today's live chat. We've got quite a lot to cover, thanks to the people who are actually doing stuff. I'm very keen on people doing, learning by doing, or practicing what you've learned, or practicing what you think you've learned. So let's see what we've got in our live chat session today. We start off with Seb's reply to my question whether she had listened to her birthday song, which I sang a couple of weeks ago on live chat. You'll have to find it if you want to listen to it. And she said, of course I listened to my birthday song last week. Your croaky voice made it quite eerie. Loved it. Okay, so yeah, so maybe I should have done it for Halloween instead. So just one little correction there, Zeb. Eerie. It's not W-E-R-Y, it's W-E-R-I-E, okay? To be eerie, to sound eerie. And I replied, ribbit, ribbit. Okay. Zeb then gave me a very timely warning. Be careful, we eat them in France. Now, in case you don't know what she meant, ribbit or ribbit is the sound we say a frog makes, or a toad, yeah. And of course frog's legs are a delicacy in France. And yes, I have eaten frog's legs, but I wouldn't recommend them. They taste like chicken, but they're very, very small and not worth bothering with. Leave them to the frogs, they need them more. Joe came in and said, we too. Personally, I never ate frog legs, but I've heard of people that did. Okay, so we do too would be better. We too, us too maybe, but we do too, as in we eat frog's legs here too. Personally, I have never eaten frog's legs, but I've heard of people that do, okay? That did would mean they don't do it anymore. So I have never eaten, generally we say that kind of thing when we're talking about life experiences, because you never know, Joe. You might end up eating frog's legs at some point, okay? Zeb then said, we also eat escargot in France and in Portugal. Now, escargot is, of course, the French name for it. It's snails, okay? And I replied to Zeb's, we eat them in France with /me runs hops away. That's just a joke. /me just means my name, so you could put Lynn runs hops away. Zeb then replied, frogs are an endangered species. I don't eat their legs anymore, feel safe, which is good to know. But I don't think you meant undangered. There's no such word as undangered. To be in danger means you're at risk. But if you're at risk of dying out completely, then you are an endangered species. E-N, not U-N, okay? So, and I replied, did you really mean undangered? Hee hee. Couldn't resist. I like it. I think there should be a word of undangered, or maybe unendangered. Species that used to be endangered and aren't endangered anymore. That would be nice, but unfortunately that's not how the world works. Zeb then wrote, I've got my dentist appointment this morning. This word dentist gives me goosebumps. I picture a mini road worker with a jackhammer inside my mouth. He puts a few witch hats or other road signs around the teeth and starts drilling. Suddenly I feel lucky that I'm not Earth. Oh, bless. I do sympathise, by the way. And I wrote, it will soon be over, Zeb. Be brave. And Zeb replied, I'm afraid we don't share the same definition of soon. I'm just at the beginning and it's going to take months. But yes, I'm a big girl. Well, I think. So it would be, it's going to take months and then comma, but yes, I'm a big girl, comma, well, I think I am, okay? Well, I think so, you could say, or I think I am, okay? BTW, she wrote, which is short for by the way, how is your sore jaw? And that's because I was at the dentist's too. So Joe then said, interesting. All this time I thought that I was talking to a male individual. It all makes sense now. The displeasure is logical thought. Girls are a lot more into feelings than boys. Okay. The displeasure in logical thought. Not sure what you meant there, Joe. You can come back and sort of explain to me the displeasure in logical thought. Okay. Zeb replied to Joe, LOL. I wonder how come you convinced yourself you were interacting with a male before. Back on topic. Do you pay regular visits to the dentist? I replied to her, how is your sore jaw, with, it's getting better, thank you. I even managed to eat this morning. Luckily, the technology they use nowadays is pretty good. Not at all like when I was a kid and developed my odontophobia, which is fear of dentists, by the way. Zeb then said, look at their names. Dental Explorer, Mouth Prop, Cheek Retractor, Dental Syringe, etc. They might be more sophisticated, but they still sound like torture device. No S to device, I can't count them. Actually, you can. Devices, yeah? Instruments and devices. I'm afraid you can actually say devices in this context. So, devices of torture, yes. It's best to take some music in with you, Seb, and take your MP3 player with all your favourite music and a pair of headphones and just play it as they're drilling away. Unfortunately, I did try this myself, but unfortunately once they're in your mouth and they are drilling, it's difficult to actually hear the music, but you can at least try to hear the music and take your mind off the drilling, and make sure you tell them that you are frightened, because they can be a little bit more gentle then. And I always make my dentist give me extra Novocaine. I don't want to feel anything. I want more Novocaine than you ever give anybody. Rockstar came along and said, hi, Zeb. And Zeb said, hi, Rockstar, do you play music? Are you into music? And I said, I'd be very disappointed if he doesn't. Zeb then said, Rockstar, the ball is in your court. When was your last gig? And we never heard from Rockstar. He's obviously too big to reply. Swagger Tom Sarkar came along and said, event means something is going to happen on next, and calendar means fixed time. Okay. Event means something is going to happen, comma, and calendar means at a fixed time. And calendar is CALENDAR, okay? And you'd say means at a fixed time, full stop. Okay. Amatsu said, Easter is on the calendar, but is not fixed. Very true, but it is fixed once it's fixed. If you see what I mean. Once it's on the calendar, it's fixed. But yes, you do have to work out when Easter will fall. It's a movable feast. I wrote, event has more than one meaning. Maybe a good way to separate them would be an event could be found in a calendar, but a calendar wouldn't be in an event. Natalie said, sounds logical, nice explanation. Thank you, Natalie. And Zeb went, gosh, that sounds very logical and rational. This annoys me. Oh dear. A calendar in an event, a calendar in an event. It existed. Okay, I think you mean if it existed. I can just imagine it would be like running late when something happens and never catching up. Maybe something like a calendar repeating itself. Ooh, like Groundhog Day. If you haven't seen the film Groundhog Day, I do recommend it. It's really fun. Zeb then said, would you agree if I say that some events happen regularly at a fixed time, Swagatum? Swagatum's not come back and answered that one, Zeb. I think we've frightened him with our logic. Byron Joe came along and said hello. And Zeb said, hello, Joe. How are you? Is Joe your first or last name? And I said, I'd be tempted to say hi, Byron. Because in English, we always have the first name goes first and the last name goes last. It's logical. So I would be tempted to say, hi, Byron. And again, if I look at the photograph, it looks like Byron is female and Joe is a male name, normally. Unless, of course, you can be Joe as in short for Joanna. Oh, I don't know. I'm confused now. Natalie then said, Lynn, how to write you a private massage with my Skype. Okay, I think you meant, Lynn, how can I write a private message to you in Skype? And Skype always with a capital S, because it's a proper noun, it's the name of the company. I then said, to join a session with me on Skype, you have to be in my contact list, and to do that, you have to be a member of the LEN forum. And I put a link to the forum. Amit said, good afternoon, ma'am. Okay. So you'd write afternoon with a small a, and it's one word, AFTERNOON. And Mom always makes me sound so old. I prefer Lynn. Mom's very American English, by the way. We tend to say madam in the UK to be very posh. But Lynn's fine. Just call me Lynn. And Zeb jumped in and said, her name is Lynn Amit. Okay, thanks, Zeb. I was confused. Now okay. Okay, so Amit, you'd say okay with a capital O, capital K, or write it out in full, capital O-K-A-Y, then comma, thanks, Zeb, with a small t. I with a capital I was confused, comma, but now I'm okay. Okay, so I apostrophe M for I am, short for I am, okay. And again, write it out in full or capital O, capital K, either or. Zeb then said, yes, your teacher is Lynn, but you couldn't know. Thanks a lot to you, Amit said. Help me to meet my teacher. Thanks a lot for helping me to meet my teacher. Okay, full stop. No worries, said Zeb. She pops in regularly. She will probably see your comments and say hello too. Amit then said, okay, Zeb, but I'm still waiting for my teacher's valuable tips because I want to become a good English speaker. I like English language. Okay, so you'd say there, Amit, okay, Zeb, and again, O-K-A-Y or capital O, capital K, but I, capital I, am still waiting for my teacher's valuable tips, comma, because I want to become a good English speaker. And then, comma, I, capital I, like the English language, or I like English, and then full stop. What does it mean to be a good English speaker for you? Asked Zeb. Not for me, just I want to become. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by not for me. What does meaning... what does being a good English speaker mean to you is what I'd be tempted to ask, Zeb. I want to become one is what I would say there, Amit, I think, and capital I. And Zeb quite rightly wrote, for me to be a good English speaker means not to be afraid of speaking with people in English. It's logical, isn't it? Amit then said, hi Lynn, I have many spelling mistakes when I chat with others. How to improve it? So I, capital I, how can I improve my spelling rather than how to improve it? And then that's a question. So when I chat with others, full stop, how can I improve my spelling? Question mark. Natalie then said, Amit, I have the same problem. I think we need to read more in English. And then don't forget Natalie, full stop. By Natalie, we need to do hard work with enjoy. Bye, we'll meet again. Thanks. Okay, so by B-Y-E, Amit. By as in B-Y is a preposition. B-Y-E is short for goodbye. Okay, so what you wrote there was, by Natalie, we need to work hard with enjoyment. Okay, and then full stop. By, again, B-Y-E, comma, we will meet again. Full stop, thanks, full stop. Okay? Zeb then wrote to Natalie, do you guys think that grammar and spelling mistakes are a problem? Ooh, good question. Amit said, Zeb, I think problems are good for us. So capital I again. And then comma, it forces us, you wrote, it forces us to develop ourselves. So you'd write a comma after us, and then it forces us to develop ourselves. He, she, it forces. Yeah. Now my log out time has come, so I need to log out. Really, I feel very grateful to talk with you guys. Bye, Natalie and Zeb. We'll meet again. Okay, so now the time has come for me to log out. Okay, and then full stop. That's all you need to say. I'm very grateful to talk with you guys. Bye, Natalie and Zeb, B-Y-E. Okay, so two things you can take away, Amit. I, capital I, and bye, B-Y-E. And then we will meet again. Zeb then wrote to Amit, I hope that making mistakes is not a prerequisite for learning, though. I think it actually is. We learn a lot from our mistakes, but only if we pay attention to them. And Natalie wrote to Amit, Amit, see you, bye. And if you look at Natalie's bye, Amit, you'll see what I mean, B-Y-E, perfect. But don't forget to put a full stop, Natalie. And Zeb also wrote bye, B-Y-E, see you soon. And Zeb got a reply from Natalie, Zeb, talk to you soon. And Zeb replied to Natalie, I'm usually around early morning, Natalie. Okay, I'd say early mornings. Okay, Early morning is okay, but early mornings is more inclusive of every day of the week. Okay, so let's move on. Byron also said, how are you, friends? And Natalie said, good, and you? We never heard from Byron, but sometimes it's not so bad, because if you notice, there was a nice little conversation between Natalie, Zeb and Amit, and that was all started and sparked off by Byron's introduction, so it's all good. So Amit then popped back and said, hi, good afternoon, friends. So Amit, capital H for hi, and then maybe a comma, good afternoon, and afternoon, as I say, is all one word, friends, and then full stop. Zeb wrote, hi Amit, is it Thursday, Friday or Saturday afternoon for you? It's Friday evening for me. Okay, I'm not sure because Amit didn't reply, but he then came back and said, in a new thread, I am new on this platform. So again, Amit, at the beginning of a sentence, and especially when it starts with the first pronoun I, so you'd say capital I, and then a full stop. Don't forget the beginning of the sentence and the end of the sentence. Pay attention, okay? Zeb then said, would you like some information? Amit then wrote, my English is not so good, so I need to improve it with you guys, okay? And again, capital M at the beginning of the sentence, but you're capitalising English, which is great. Well done, Amit. Zeb then said, your English sounds good to me. Why aren't you happy with it? And Amit, you need to learn how to use the reply button, because Amit came back and said, hi Zeb, it's Friday midnight for me, in a completely new thread, which is a bit confusing. So hi, capital H, and then Zeb could be capital X, because it's Zeb's nickname and names are always capitalised. Then comma, it's Friday, comma, midnight for me. Oh, that's late to be up, Amit, online. Midnight for you, 9 p.m. for me. So midnight, Zeb, M-I-D-N-I-G-H-T. Look how Amit wrote it. 9 p.m. for me. And then a full stop. You must live far more to the east of France. Okay, so capital Y. BTW, which stands for by the way. It would be easier to follow the conversion if you clicked on the reply button below the message, okay? Not conversion. That's something you do when you build an extension to your house. Or you turn the attic into living accommodation. That's a conversion. An attic conversion, actually. We were talking about that with Zeb and Aladdin last week on Kitely. So conversation. Conversation. I think that's what you meant, and you probably just mistyped it. Natalie came along again and said, hello, I'm a newcomer here. And don't forget, end your sentences with some kind of punctuation. In this context, it would just be a simple full stop. Zeb then said, hi, Natalie. And Zeb's written it Nathalie. Do you not like the way Natalie actually spells her name, Zeb? And she said, welcome on this chat page. I'd still say welcome to, like welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Welcome to this chat page. Hello, Zeb, said Natalie. I'm happy to become a member of the chat. And again, you're not ending your sentences, Natalie. I know you've ended the sentence because there's nothing written after it, but if you're in a test or an exam, you'll get marked down for that kind of thing. It's a good habit to develop, just to end your sentences. If you're writing an important letter, people will notice those kind of mistakes and they'll go, ooh, and they might not take you as seriously as if you write it perfectly. Okay? Zeb then said, the hick is that you don't seem to have a discuss account, so all your messages end up in the moderation queue. Lucky you, I'm connected, so I can approve them immediately. Okay, yes. It is an issue with Discuss that if you don't have a Discuss account, it won't delete your messages, but they'll go into a moderation queue, and so we'll then have to approve them before they show up, okay? Natalie said, yes, I have noticed that my messages need some time to be posted. How can I get Discuss account? So what you'd say is, how can I get a Discuss account? Okay? Probably I have it now, okay? I don't know, Natalie. I'd have to look, but you have got an avatar, so I think you must have an account by now. So probably comma. I have one now. Full stop. Again, end your sentences. Zeb said, well done. It's more enjoyable for me now. And Natalie went, yes. Capital Y, Natalie. Okay. Then let's scroll up a bit. Oh, this is a long one. Okay, Natalie. then wrote, and I featured this one because I love talking about the weather. I'm British, I can't help it. It is evening now and it is raining in my location. Okay, it's not wrong to say it's raining in my location, but you'd say it's raining where I am or it's raining here. Okay, in my location, it's a bit TMI, too much information. Zeb said, "You're not in the north part of France then. It was awesome in Paris today. I wish I was off to enjoy it." Poor you, Zeb, having to work when the weather's nice. It's terrible, isn't it? Haven't you chanced to go outside today? Asked Natalie. So, haven't you had the chance to go outside today? Okay, I'm not in the north part of France, correct. And again, full stop. You're doing well with the questions, Natalie. You're always ending a question with a question mark. You need to do the same with a statement and just end it with a full stop or an exclamation mark. Zeb then wrote, "I worked all day long from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and came back straight home afterwards, but I did enjoy a bit of sun. I rode a bike to work and came back on foot." When you say I rode a bike, was that any old bike that you found on the street? Was that my hubby's bike? Was it your bike? I would be tempted to say I rode my bike to work. The only time I'd say I rode a bike to work if it was one of those loan bikes you can get. And I know you have those in Paris, so I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know, Zeb. Let me know in that thread if you can find it. I usually use bus to the way home, and I listening to English while this, Natalie wrote. So, I usually take the bus home, and I listen to English while doing this, or while on the bus, okay? Riding a bike or on foot is very healthy. As for me, I like this way, okay? Riding a bike or going on foot is very healthy. As for me, I like this way, full stop, okay? Is it a long ride by bus, asked Seb. I spend around 40 minutes to one side, said Natalie. Okay, to one side is more, I'll put this chocolate to one side and eat it later, okay? I think what you meant, Natalie, was it takes about 40 minutes one way. Okay, that means from home to work or from work to home is 40 minutes. Okay, that's quite a long commute time, said Zeb. Actually, you don't need time there. You could just say that's quite a long commute. Is the bus always on time? Not if it's in England, it's not. And Natalie wrote, buses are going every 10 minutes, I believe. Okay, so not are going, because it's a regular thing, especially when you're talking about timetables, you'd say buses run every 10 minutes, I believe. So here is no problems. So what you'd say there, so here there's no problem, full stop. Okay, let's get you ending your sentences correctly. They're never stuck in a traffic jam, asked Zeb. And Natalie wrote, yes, and I account the time with all the possible traffic stucks. Okay, so yes, then comma, but... I take account of any possible traffic jams. We don't have traffic stucks. We actually call them traffic jams, Jams. Then Natalie wrote, the maximum I need for my way to work is 1 hour. So I'd say the maximum I need to get to work is 1 hour or is an hour. Okay. Zeb then said, I hope that you always find a free seat. And Natalie said, I'm laughing now. I'm standing in a bus in 80% of times. Okay, so I'm laughing now, full stop. That's a nice way to end the sentence. And then I end up standing on the bus 80% of times. 80% of the time would be better, full stop. Is it a bus crowded like a can of sardines, asked Zeb. Okay, I'd say, is your bus crowded like a can of sardines? Luckily, it is not, said Natalie. Natalie, capital L for luckily, it's the beginning of the sentence. It is not, full stop at the end of the sentence. Phew, said Zeb. You've never wanted to commute by car? And Natalie said, I would like to, but I don't have a car. Again, Natalie, full stop at the end of your sentence. How faster do you think it would be to commute by car for you? Asked Zeb. Natalie said, I would spend 20 to 30 minutes. I know it because sometimes I use a taxi. Okay, so not I would spend, it would take, so the journey would take. It would take 20 to 30 minutes, comma. I know that because sometimes I use a taxi. Full stop at the end of the sentence, Natalie. And then Natalie asked Natalie, actually, I think you were asking Zeb, but you seem to reply to yourself, Natalie. How much do you spend on the way while you go on foot? Ooh, okay, so how much time does it take if you go on foot? Okay, that's what I would ask. And again, you're doing well with the questions. You always end the question correctly. You've still got a problem with your statements. You're just not ending the sentences. Zeb replied, about 20 minutes. If you listen to some English podcast or whatever when you are on the bus, I prefer to rattle out loud some Spanish or English sounds when I walk to work. Okay. Okay. I wouldn't say if, because there's no end to that clause. Okay. So I just put, you listen to some English podcasts, and plural, or whatever when you are on the bus, comma, I prefer to rattle out loud some Spanish or English sounds when I walk to work. Do you rattle just alone? Asked Natalie. Yes, said Zeb. I repeat words that are difficult for me. This morning it was career versus carrier, among a few others. And you've learnt the difference in pronunciation, right? Asked Natalie. Lynn pointed out that my career sounded like carrier, so yes, I got to hear the pronunciation of these two words. I'll have to use them with people around to check if I've got them right now. Exactly. Natalie, said Zeb, I'll not stay longer on this page. Catch you next time. Bye. And Natalie said, bye, see you. Good, well done. Nice conversation. It began and it ended without it just sort of drifting off into nothingness. It's always, when you've got to log off, it's fine. People don't mind. Just say, oh, I've got to go, bye, and then people know that you've gone. If you just don't carry on the conversation, imagine if you were in a real conversation facing somebody and you just wandered off. You're in the middle of a conversation and you just turn around and walk away from them. They wouldn't probably want to converse with you again. So do be aware that there's certain etiquette in having online conversations. So guest went at Lynn, hello, and I went hi, and guest, I'm not sure where you went, but hi anyway. Natalie came back 3 days ago and said, hello friends, is anybody here? And yeah, you did hello friends with an exclamation mark. That's how you end a sentence. Friends could be a small f, by the way, because it's not a name, so just a small f. And I went, yes, I'm here. And Natalie said, nice to meet you, Lynn. I have sent you an invitation to Skype. Have you seen? You'd say, have you seen it? Okay. Have you seen the invitation I sent you to Skype? And you can just call it it. Not yet, I replied. It's the weekend, but I will get round to it. It's a lovely day here, and we are off to the ice cream shop. We did as well. We did. It was lovely. Okay, have a good day, said Natalie, and a good rest. Would you advise me time when it is better to be online to chat with different people? So not would. You could say, could you advise me when... Get rid of the word time. So could you advise me when it's best to be online to chat with different people? And I wrote, now is good. Really, it's a bit like potluck on Discuss, but we do run live sessions most days of the week on other platforms. Have a look at the calendar. And Zeb also replied, I fear that interactions on live chat are mostly luck if you're looking for instant text chat. But if you have a look at the calendar, you'll notice that there is a text chat on Tuesdays in Skype. Exactly, yeah, that will be starting anytime soon. And here, of course, on a Tuesday morning, I'm here and I'm quite happy to chat for half an hour in Discuss. Rahel came along and said, hello friends. Amatsu said, hi Rahel. Zeb said, hi Rahel. Rahel didn't reply. Zeb started... Anchared came along and said, hey, there is somebody who is English. I need help. I have English sentences and I need somebody who check it for me because of the mistakes. Wow, okay. Hey is not a good way to start a conversation. Hey, oi, you, over there, come here. So hi would be nicer, or hello, or good morning, good afternoon, good evening, anything but hey. And then you're asking a question. Is anybody here English? Capital E for English. Then I need help, and capital I. I have some English sentences and I need somebody to check them for me because of the mistakes. So capital I, capital E with English, and I need somebody who will check them for me because of the mistakes. Okay, so comma between me and because. I wrote, hi Anchored, a good place for help is the forum, but you have to have a go at answering the questions yourself. Okay, so sometimes people put in, what's the answer, A, B or C? And I go, well, what do you think the answer is? Because I know the answer most of the time. So I want to see if you know the answer, and then we'll know if you've got a bit of a problem or if you don't fully understand something. Otherwise, I'm just doing your homework for you. Amatsu came along and said, just missed you, Anchored. And Anchored went, what do you mean? And Amatsu said, I thought you'd gone. Anchored said, no, I always receive the emails when you write. Aha, you've got email notification on. You can do that in Discuss People, okay? Put email notification on and you'll see if you get a reply to something you've written in Discuss, on any of the Discuss chats. There's not just this one. Discuss has a lot of chats going on. And so, again, Anchored, capital I, okay? I'm not very technically minded, I'm afraid, said Amatsu. Are you good at English? Asked Anchored. So, English with a capital E. Oh, you asked it twice, Anchored. You must have really wanted to know. And Amatsu said, I'm a native speaker, but don't ask me any grammar-y stuff. And Zeb replied to Amatsu, lol, I think you're doing well so far. And then to Anchored, what have you understood? Okay, so Anchored didn't reply to that. Maybe scared off by the native English speaker. City came along and said, hi, can I join to learn speak English? Okay, so hi, can I join and learn how to speak English, English with a capital E and one question mark, no need for multiple question marks. So, hi City, said Zeb, reply, what do you mean using your voice? Oh no, said City, I mean chat to learn English, please help me. So, capital O and a small n. So, oh no, and then full stop. I meant to chat to learn English, capital E for English, then one comma, please help me, full stop. If you're looking for chat rooms, said Zeb, I'm afraid I know only this place. So I'm afraid I only know this place. If it sounds any good for you, we can chat for a while here. And Priyanka came along, hi Priyanka, and said, hey, I have got issues with my vocabulary. Can you help me expand it? So, hey again, yeah, avoid it. It's a bit sort of watch out and danger. So, hi, capital I have got some issues with my vocabulary, full stop. Can you help me expand it? So, capital C, okay. And Zeb said, sure, interacting with people helps to commit to memory the vocab you've learnt. Exactly. I mean, you guys, you learn a lot of vocabulary, you learn a lot of grammar, but then you think you've learnt it. And you don't really learn it till you're using it in context regularly. Okay, I'm just saying. City came along and said, that's a good idea, thank you. So, not sure what you meant by N, but you could start with, that's a good idea, so with a capital T, comma, thank you, full stop. Zeb replied to City, do you mind talking about food? I've been talking about eating bugs like ants, grasshoppers or snails recently. So I think you meant I've been talking, B-E-E-N. And then Zeb went on, I'm curious to know if people around the world eat bugs in their country. Do you eat some sort of bugs? And Aladdin said, did you, Zeb? And Zeb said, if I did what? Talked about bugs? Yep, I did with Lalo from Mexico. And also here last week about chapulinas, they're grasshoppers. Or if I eat bugs, yes, I don't mind eating snails and I'm looking forward to eating ants, grasshoppers, etc. Do you eat bugs, Aladdin? Aladdin hasn't replied yet. Maybe we could talk about this in Kitely on a Thursday night. What would you eat? What wouldn't you eat? And City replied to Zeb 2 days ago, oh, sure. Why the question mark though, City? If you're saying sure, then it's a statement, and O would be capital O. Okay, so O, comma, sure, full stop. I can't imagine the taste, comma, but I think there are some people that have to eat it. Okay, I think there are some people that have to eat them. Okay, have to? Asked Zeb. Do you mean that some people have no choice but eat bugs? Who are these people? And City said, yes, like certain people that usually life in rural areas, like in the middle of forest. Okay, so yes, comma, and with a capital Y. EHM, not really happy with that. It's actually short for extremely hazardous material as far as I'm concerned. I think you mean or we don't do N. So... So you could say there, City, yes, comma. For example, some people who usually live, Live, in rural areas, comma, like in the middle of the forest, comma. But, by the way, where do you come from? Okay. So I'd say in the middle of the forest, full stop. Then no but, because you're not actually saying anything that requires this word. But I don't know any, but I've never met someone, but I've never eaten bugs. I mean, anything could follow on from that but. So you'd end the sentence there and then write, by the way, with a capital B, comma, where do you come from, question mark, and no space between the last word and the question mark. Okay, when you're ending a sentence, you put the punctuation straight after the last word. Zeb replied, I live in France, and you? And City said, wow, I come from Indonesia. And so full stop after Indonesia. I love the wow, because, you know, I'm from England. It's like, oh, yeah, you're from France. It's just over the border, just over the channel. I'm more like, wow, you come from Indonesia. How interesting. It's all about perspective, isn't it? Zeb then said, is there anything you eat in Indonesia that may sound unusual for a European? Ooh, great question, Zeb. I'd like to know that too. I also wrote, this is actually a serious subject. The UN Food and the UN Food and Agriculture Organization released a report in 2013 entitled Edible Insects: Future Prospects for Food and Feed Security. It recommends the inclusion of insects in a daily diet as an alternative to resource-intensive staples like beef, poultry and fish. According to the report's findings, 2 billion people worldwide already eat 1,900 insect species as part of their diet. I still can't imagine eating bugs and grubs. I really can't. I'm probably being silly, because I think if you're hungry enough, you'll eat anything. But even so, the idea... I think I mentioned prawns earlier. I will eat prawns, and they're like insects, sea insects to me. Loai came along and said, hey, again, hey, hi, rather than, or hello, much more polite. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, hi, but not hey. I want to talk with him to improve my English language. Who's him? Who's he? So I, capital I, want someone to talk with, comma, to improve my English, capital E, full stop. My mail, blah, blah, blah. Do you really want to put your email in an open forum like this with people you don't know coming? Have you not heard of the heartbleed bug? Yeah, be careful of your emails, unless it's something you're going to throw away in a couple of weeks, okay? And then Loe wrote, thanks. So capital T and then a full stop. Zeb said, hi Loe, I don't chat my emails, but I wouldn't mind a small talk on this page right now. So I don't chat by email, okay, comma, but I wouldn't mind some small talk on this page right now, okay. Then let's scroll back up, see how we're doing, past the bugs. Bassam came along and said, hi everyone. So Bassam, capital H, and everyone is one word. So not everyone, that would be every one of them. And everyone is inclusive, so it's joined together. I wrote hi Bassam, and Amatsu wrote hi Bassam, welcome. Bassam's not come back to us yet. Maybe Bassam's going to come back when he hears, or she, not sure. It's just a little grey head here, just one comment. So that might be the last thing we hear from Bassam. Bassam, I hope you hear this. I hope you get the correction. Priyanka came along. Hello, everyone. How are you people doing? Excellent, Priyanka. Everyone, one word. So, capital H for hello, and then full stop after everyone, because the next thing is a sentence. That's a statement. Hello, everyone. And the next thing is a question, so it has to be a new sentence. So, capital H, how are you people doing? Or how are you doing? because you've already said everyone, so you don't really need you people. How are you doing? And I wrote, hi Priyanka, it's a bit cold here. We had a beautiful weekend, but by Monday the temperature had dropped 10 degrees. Brr. And I'm sitting here back in a fleece jacket, a fleece jumper, and looking outside at the grey sky and hoping that by the weekend we'll have another nice weekend. It's not so bad though. We had a good weekend, and usually it's the other way around. The weekends are crappy and the week is nice, so I don't mind it if it's colder in the week when I have to work. I can sit in the office with the central heating on. As long as we get a nice weekend, it's all good. And Zeb went, hi, the day's just started and it's still dark, but so far, so good. Oh, wow, what time were you up, Zeb? 7 hours ago. So 11 hours minus 7 hours. What time would that be? Oh, dear, my poor brain. You were actually up? No way. You were not up at 4 in the morning, were you, Zeb? Please tell me you weren't. Anyhow, that's it for this week on Live Chat. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. And we've just about used up the whole 45 minutes, so that's quite good. Okay, and if you've got a couple of seconds more, I'd just like to mention something for the network, and that is the English magazine. We now have a listening function. You'll see a button at the top of every article called Listen, and you can then play the article. Okay, it's doing the whole introduction at the moment. I'll try and tweak it so it only reads the content, but it will read the whole article to you, and you can also, within the article, highlight a word or a sentence and get it to play it again and again. It is machine read, but it's very good. These technologies are really coming on now, so it's a lot better than the first time we ever tried this on the network, which I have to say was a bit of a disaster, but fun. I mean, we like trying these things out. If you find a sentence or a word you think is mispronounced, let me know, and I'll let you know whether you're right, or I might even, if it is wrong, I might even record it for you, or get a Matsu to record it. And even on the News Roundup, what's nice is Amatsu is going to carry on doing the News Roundup recordings, and then you can compare it to the machine recording, okay, the machine voice. So also, as it's reading, it will highlight the word it's reading, which I think is a really good function. It's from readspeaker.com, and it's something we've added to the magazine, so it's basically being sponsored by our sponsors and advertisers, so thank them for us. Thank you guys. Anybody who advertises on the network, thank you so much. It helps us to pay for this kind of stuff to play with, which is great fun, and hopefully inspires other people to do similar stuff as well. So just to let you know, have a pop over to the English magazine, have a listen, and we've got Discuss on the English magazine, so when you're playing it back, you won't see the discuss comments. You'll have to refresh the page, and then you can write whether you think there's a word in there, whether you think it's good, whether you think it's wrong, whether you think it's mispronounced something. Yeah, remember, it's a machine, so it's not perfect. And I'll respond to you and tell you whether I think you're right or not. We can make it a game. Okay, take care. Thank you for listening, and just remember, get out there and practice your English. All that learning, yeah, put it to use. All that time and effort, put it to use. Have some fun, and be nice and be kind. And if you can't be good, just don't get caught. Bye.